You've dreamed of this moment for years. The golden glow of the sunset, the gentle roll of the ocean, the horizon stretching forever. Retirement, freedom, peace. The cruise life seems like the perfect reward after a lifetime of work. But what if, behind the calm blue waters, there are hidden dangers that most seniors never see coming? Cruising after 70 can be magical, but it's also a world full of silent risks. Some are physical, some are emotional, and some are buried deep within the very structure of the cruise experience itself. These are the dangers no brochure will ever show you, and no travel agent will ever mention. Because behind every breathtaking ocean view, there's a reality most passengers never hear until it's too late. When you first step onto a cruise ship, everything feels designed for comfort. The smiling crew, the soft lighting, the gentle music echoing through the atrium. It feels safe, almost like a floating paradise. But here's the truth that few talk about. Once you're at sea, you're in a completely different world. There's no nearby hospital, no pharmacy on every corner, and no emergency services ready to rush in if something goes wrong. Cruise ships have medical centers, but they're limited. They can treat dehydration, minor injuries, or common illnesses. But if something serious happens, a stroke, a heart attack, a fall with internal bleeding, the only option is evacuation. And evacuations at sea don't happen fast. When the ship is hundreds of miles from shore, it can take hours, even days before help arrives. Helicopters can't always land, weather can delay everything. And the truth? Every minute matters when you're over 70. Many passengers never realize that cruise ship doctors aren't specialists. They're trained general practitioners. Capable, yes, but without the resources of a hospital. There are no MRI machines, no operating rooms, and sometimes no spare beds. Yet thousands of seniors board every year without ever knowing this, trusting the illusion of safety that the ocean sells so well. But the physical dangers are only the beginning. There's another threat that creeps in quietly, the hidden challenge of movement. Cruise ships sway, even when the seas are calm. For younger travelers, it's a gentle rhythm. For older guests, it can mean dizziness, disorientation, and imbalance. The ship's motion confuses the body's balance system, especially for those with joint replacements, vertigo, or balance issues. One small misstep on a staircase, one unexpected roll of the ship, and what was supposed to be a peaceful vacation becomes a long medical nightmare. The hallways, the slick decks, the narrow bathrooms, all perfectly polished, but not perfectly safe. Crew members try their best, but every voyage brings incidents. Passengers slipping by the pool, tripping in the corridor, falling during tender transfers between ship and shore. It's not the waves that cause the most injuries at sea, it's the floors. And while your body adjusts to the motion, something else begins to change, your sense of time and routine. Cruise ships are like dream worlds, no clocks, no familiar landmarks, no stable sleep rhythm. For some, it's relaxing, but for older travelers, that loss of structure can quietly cause confusion. Doctors call it disorientation at sea. It's not just seasickness, it's a form of sensory overload. The constant vibration, the artificial lighting, the endless background music, they can all affect sleep, appetite, and alertness. For passengers already managing mild cognitive decline, this environment can make symptoms worse. Simple tasks like remembering cabin numbers or finding dining rooms become challenges. One former nurse who worked on a major cruise line described it perfectly. Cruise ships are designed to feel timeless, but for the elderly, that can become a trap. They lose their sense of where they are. Then there's the heat. Most cruise destinations are warm: the Caribbean, the Mediterranean, Southeast Asia. To most travelers, that's paradise. But for older passengers, prolonged exposure to heat can lead to dehydration, fainting, and heat stroke. Many don't realize how easy it is to get dehydrated at sea. The air conditioning on board dries out the air, while the sun on deck pulls moisture from the skin. You don't feel yourself sweating, but your body is losing water faster than you can drink it. Add in alcohol, medication, or limited mobility, and dehydration becomes one of the most common medical emergencies for seniors on cruises. Yet it's rarely discussed, because who wants to admit that paradise itself could be dangerous? Another hidden danger comes from something as simple as stairs. Elevators exist, yes, but they're often crowded or out of order. During port days, lines stretch for minutes at a time. Some guests decide to take the stairs instead. And that's when accidents happen. Ships move, subtly, constantly. Even the most stable decks shift slightly with every wave. That means stairs aren't always as predictable as they look. One misjudged step, one sudden lurch, and gravity does the rest. Crew members are trained for emergencies, but even they can't be everywhere at once. What few passengers realize is that cruise ships record every major incident, and internal safety data shows that a large percentage of onboard injuries come from falls, especially among passengers over 70. And then there's infection. Cruise ships are marvels of engineering, but they're also contained environments. Thousands of people breathing the same filtered air, touching the same railings, using the same buffet utensils. It's a perfect recipe for viruses. Outbreaks of norovirus, influenza, and even respiratory infections can spread quickly, especially among older passengers whose immune systems are already weaker. The ships clean constantly, but the truth is unavoidable. When hundreds of people share the same space for days, germs spread fast. It's not the ship's fault, it's just the nature of isolation. But the danger for seniors is that a simple infection that a younger person might recover from easily can be severe at sea. And when medical help is limited, even a small illness can turn serious. Another danger hides not in the body, but in the mind, the emotional toll of isolation. It might sound impossible to feel lonely on a ship full of people, but it happens every day. Many seniors travel solo after losing a partner. The cruise promises companionship, laughter, and new beginnings. But once the novelty fades, the crowds can feel overwhelming. Group activities are designed for energy, for youth, for speed. For many older guests, that can feel exhausting. They retreat to their cabins, thinking they'll rest. But silence at sea is different. It's endless, heavy, echoing. Days pass, and the world outside the porthole feels further and further away. For those with depression or anxiety, the ocean's isolation can make things worse. There's no easy escape, no walk to clear your mind, just the horizon, beautiful but endless. Then there's the money trap, the hidden financial danger. Cruise lines design everything around convenience. Tap your card, sign your name, and it's added to your room balance. It feels effortless, but for some seniors, it becomes dangerous. Without realizing it, small charges add up. Spa treatments, excursions, photos, souvenirs. A week can turn into thousands of dollars. And while younger passengers might shrug it off as a splurge, older travelers on fixed incomes can be blindsided. There's no shame in it. The system is built that way. Every hallway tempts you with something new. Every activity subtly encourages spending. It's not predatory, it's psychology. But it's one of the most overlooked dangers of cruising after 70, the cost of being carefree. Yet perhaps the most emotional danger is medical privacy. Most passengers don't know that when a medical event happens at sea, cruise lines have the authority to report and sometimes even decide how that information is handled. If a guest becomes seriously ill, the ship's medical team contacts headquarters. From there, decisions are made about whether to divert, to evacuate, or to continue. Family members back home aren't always notified right away. There have been cases where loved ones only found out after the ship returned to port. It's not cruelty, it's procedure. The priority is to protect the ship, the passengers, and the company. But for seniors cruising alone, that lack of communication can turn an emergency into a tragedy. And finally, there's the one danger that no one expects: being left behind. Every year it happens. A passenger misses a boarding time, delayed by traffic, confusion, or slow movement, and the ship sails away. Once that gangway lifts, it's over. You're stranded in a foreign port, often with your passport still locked in your cabin. For older passengers, catching up isn't easy. Flights, hotels, communication, it's overwhelming. The ocean waits for no one. And sometimes, the most heartbreaking part of cruising after 70 isn't what happens at sea, it's what happens when you don't make it back on board. Still, despite all these dangers, people keep cruising. Why? Because for many, the beauty outweighs the risk. The sound of the waves, the sunsets that melt into gold, the feeling of freedom you can't find anywhere else. And maybe that's what makes cruising so special and so dangerous. It gives us the illusion that time has stopped, that age doesn't matter, that the ocean will always keep us safe. But the truth is, the sea is ancient, powerful, indifferent. It offers beauty, but it demands respect. For travelers over 70, the key isn't fear, it's awareness, preparation, honesty. Because the most dangerous thing about cruising after 70 is thinking nothing could ever go wrong. The sea is freedom, but it's also truth, and those who sail it must understand both. If you love uncovering the hidden side of cruising, make sure to subscribe, because there's a whole ocean of stories still waiting beneath the surface. The ocean doesn't shout its warnings, it whispers them, quietly, patiently, through the hum of the engines, the sway beneath your feet, the cold touch of metal railings at dawn. And most of the time, we don't listen. We're distracted by beauty, by excitement, by the idea that this ship, this floating city, will keep us safe no matter what. But safety at sea is not a guarantee. It's a fragile agreement between nature, time, and human judgment. And sometimes that agreement breaks. It begins with something small: a cough, a stumble, a bit of dizziness after lunch. For most passengers, it passes. But for seniors, small things can unravel quickly. One former cruise nurse once said, "We never see it coming until it's too late." She wasn't talking about storms, she meant the silent emergencies: heart attacks, strokes, infections that progress too fast. You see, the cruise environment masks symptoms. The sea breeze makes you feel healthier, the endless movement hides fatigue. You walk more than usual, you eat differently, you sleep less. Then one morning, something doesn't feel right, but you tell yourself it's nothing. After all, you're on vacation. But on a cruise ship, wait and see can become the most dangerous decision you'll ever make. And yet, there's a deeper danger no one discusses: the pressure to appear okay. For many seniors, a cruise is a declaration: I'm still strong, I can still explore the world. It's not just a vacation, it's a statement of independence. So when something feels off, pain, weakness, confusion, some hide it. They don't want to be a burden, they don't want their children to worry, they don't want to ruin the trip. But the ship's doctor isn't a mind reader. Unless you say something, they don't know. There are cabins where passengers have quietly stayed for days, unwell, until someone noticed they hadn't come to dinner. Crew members tell stories, softly, respectfully, of guests found resting, peacefully, but forever. The ocean has seen it all. And then there's medication, one of the most hidden dangers of all. Most passengers bring their prescriptions, carefully packed in organizers. But at sea, routines change. Mealtime shift, clocks adjust to time zones, excursions start early, dinners end late. It's easy to miss a dose, or double one by mistake. Some medications interact with sunlight, with alcohol, or with dehydration. On land, that's manageable. But at sea, where everything feels slightly off balance, the smallest chemical imbalance can have huge consequences. And while cruise medical centers are stocked, they don't have every brand or dosage. If you lose your pills or they run out, replacements might not be available until the next port. That could be 2 days away or 5. There's also something few passengers consider: the invisible world of air. Cruise ships recycle it constantly, filtered, conditioned, circulated through hundreds of cabins. It feels clean, but viruses travel easily in that air. After the pandemic years, ships became safer, better filtration, stricter hygiene, but perfection doesn't exist. One sick passenger in an enclosed buffet line, one sneeze in a crowded theater, and the ship's population becomes a petri dish of unseen contagion. You may never know who brought it aboard. For older travelers, even a mild virus can escalate: pneumonia, bronchitis, or complications that linger long after the voyage ends. The danger isn't just getting sick, it's being sick far from land. Then there's motion, subtle but relentless. You stop feeling it after a while, or so you think, but your body never truly adjusts. It's constantly fighting to balance itself. For some seniors, especially those with inner ear issues or blood pressure fluctuations, this battle can quietly drain the body's energy. Fatigue sets in, sleep becomes restless, concentration fades. The ship's gentle roll that once lulled you to sleep becomes a whispering reminder that you're not on solid ground anymore. One elderly passenger described it best: "It's like your body knows something your brain won't admit, that you don't belong here." And then there's the tender boat, the small, bobbing lifeline that carries passengers to shore when the ship can't dock. It looks harmless, even fun, but for older guests, it's often the most dangerous part of the cruise. The step down from the platform to the boat isn't always stable. The boat sways. Crew members help, but the ocean doesn't wait. A single misstep, a small wave, and balance is gone. Many seniors have fallen during tender transfers. Some are lucky, some are not. It's a reminder that even small adventures carry big risks when the body no longer moves as it once did. Another danger hides in the fine print, the policies passengers rarely read. Most cruise lines have strict medical clauses. If you fall ill, they can disembark you at the next port, even if it's not your home country. It sounds harsh, but it's necessary. Ships can't risk carrying severely ill passengers for days without proper care. Yet few travelers understand what that means in practice. Imagine being suddenly dropped off in a foreign hospital, alone, with your luggage still on the ship. You might not speak the language, you might not have your medical records, you might not even have a working phone signal. For younger travelers, it's an inconvenience. For seniors, it can be terrifying. And then the waves. Not the kind that splash, but the kind that rise slowly, silently, building strength as weather changes far away. Storms hundreds of miles off can send swells that roll through even calm seas. The ship creaks, the floor tilts, glasses slide across tables. You tell yourself it's fine, the captain has it under control, and he does. But your body doesn't care. It reacts. Muscles tense, balance falters, the inner ear screams for stability. At 70, that stress lingers longer. It can trigger vertigo, nausea, or even a fall in your cabin while trying to stand. The ocean doesn't mean harm, but it doesn't forgive carelessness either. Still, there's one danger that's harder to measure: the illusion of control. Cruise lines are masters of hospitality. Everything feels handled: your meals, your schedule, your comfort. You don't have to think. But that illusion can make seniors let their guard down. They forget their limits. They walk farther than they should. They skip medications. They overexert themselves on excursions. The cruise world is designed to make you forget your age, and that's both its beauty and its danger. Because when you forget your limits, the ocean remembers them for you. But not all dangers come from the body or the sea. Some come from others. Scams exist on land and at sea alike. And while cruise lines work tirelessly to protect guests, opportunists sometimes find a way. In ports, tourists become targets. Seniors, trusting, kind, eager to explore, are the easiest. Taxi overcharges, fake souvenirs, credit card skimmers. Even on board, hidden costs lurk in the form of optional upgrades and exclusive offers. They're not crimes, but they prey on the excitement of the moment. And when you're caught up in the joy of travel, it's easy to forget the math. Then there's the quiet danger of fatigue, not exhaustion, but deep, creeping tiredness that comes from constant activity. Cruises promise fun, but fun can be overwhelming. Early breakfasts, long shore excursions, crowded theaters, late-night shows. Days blend together. For older travelers, this constant stimulation can trigger physical and emotional burnout. Blood pressure fluctuates, blood sugar dips, sleep quality collapses. You don't notice it until your body says enough. And sometimes that moment comes when you're miles from shore. But perhaps the most invisible danger is the one that waits at the end, when the ship docks, the bags are packed, and the adventure fades. It's the silence after the noise. Many seniors describe a strange sadness after cruising, a hollow feeling, like something is missing. Psychologists call it post-cruise depression. After days surrounded by people, sounds, and motion, returning to stillness can feel unbearable. The ship becomes a metaphor for youth, for freedom, for moments that can't be relived. And when it's gone, the quiet hurts. It's not just the end of a trip. For some, it feels like saying goodbye to a dream. So why do people still go? Why, knowing all of this, do thousands of seniors step aboard every day? Because the sea calls to something deep inside us, something that refuses to fade, no matter our age. It's the same spirit that made explorers set sail centuries ago, the human need to move, to see, to feel wonder again. And maybe that's the real story here. The dangers are real, yes, but so is the beauty. So is the courage. Cruising after 70 isn't foolish, it's brave. It's a declaration that life, even with its risks, is still meant to be lived. So, if you're setting sail, be wise, be ready, and respect the sea. Know the dangers, but don't let them steal the magic. Because every wave, every sunrise, every moment you stand on that deck staring at infinity reminds you of something powerful. You're still here. You're still alive. And that is the greatest voyage of all. If you love uncovering the hidden truths of life at sea, subscribe, because there's a whole ocean of stories still waiting to be told.